back, everyone.
To Witches, Legends, and Ghosts.
Oh, my.
This is episode 13.
Where the theme was children. I'm your co-host, Jade.
And your other co-host, Hunter.
And?
Let's get started.
Okay, so, to be perfectly transparent, the original theme was not children. This was a very last-minute decision. It was originally Badge. Can I just tell you what I did, though, for the thing? Yes. For coming up with the themes, I literally I went to a word generator, and I just clicked, and then I would write down ones that I was like, this could maybe have something, and I would just write them down. So this one was Badge. I don't know why I thought that was going to work.
I tried. I was really like,
I was like, haunted,
police,
badges,
police,
Yeah. So, we scratched that. And Hunter came up with the really good idea of having children because she had something that, like, you found.
Children, yeah.
And then we've already touched on Black-Eyed Children, so we might as well just go more in depth. So that's what I'm covering,
for sure.
Is Black-Eyed Children. And I know we've talked about this before because that's when I had my panic attack that I had to tell my therapist about.
Yes.
So when I first started doing this last night, I told Kyle that I was doing Black-Eyed Children. He was like, why? And I was like, oh, well, we changed it to children. So I'm doing the Black-Eyed Children. Mm-hmm. And he was like, why are you doing this to yourself? Last time you learned about this, you started having a panic attack. And I was like, it'll be fine. And he was like, I can veto this, you know? And I was like, I'll be fine. And I convinced myself that by looking things up, maybe that one thing was just like a fluke, you know? And like that didn't really happen. It was just like it was just like debunking this one story that I read that freaked me out. And it did. That was the only one. That one story is the only time that I've ever heard anything about going back in time and like stuff like that. So yay.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with like the background, what they are, that kind of stuff. And then I have like actual accounts from people that I'm just going to read word for word because obviously I'm not going to paraphrase their own experiences. Mm-hmm. So if you've never heard of Black-Eyed Children before, and this is your first time listening to our podcast and you haven't heard me freak out about them before, they are paranormal creatures that resemble human children, and they look extremely normal. They look very, very normal. They have like pale skin most of the time, but not like so pale that you're like questioning if they're real. Just pale skin. A lot of times they're either wearing like hoodies that are covering their face, or they're wearing like almost out of date clothing, like kind of olden-y. And it'll seem like they're fully normal. They may talk a little bit like as if they're like an older soul. Like they talk like they're like 60 years old or something. But then if you look into their eyes, it is just pitch black. There are no irises.
Okay.
There's no white to their eyes. Like picture the demons in Supernatural.
Okay, because I was gonna ask if by black you meant like literally like they have like human-ish eyes that are like black, or if you meant like it was almost like black pits.
Yeah, black pits. Some people have described it as like a galaxy. Like purple or blue or like really, really dark. Like it's just like a void.
Okay.
Yeah.
Two voids.
Two voids, yes. So they are seen hitchhiking, trying to get rides.
Pause.
Yes.
So I love children. But I also feel like the horror like community, the horror like film, basically everything that has to do with like horror, like the number one creepy thing that they turn to is children.
Yes.
So it doesn't surprise me that, you know, there's a folklore, myth, legend thing of children.
Yeah.
Because I feel like because children are vulnerable, they're easier to prey on, you know, like I feel like that's what a lot of horror things turn to.
Yes.
And I don't know what it is.
Or they're seen as innocent, so people would be more likely to offer help or aid, which would get them closer to whatever creature they are.
That's very true. You
were gonna say? Sorry.
I was gonna say. What was I gonna say? I feel like children can be creepy very. Oh my god, children can be very creepy very easily. There's this one. So I work at a daycare, and I heard a story about one of the girls who I like loved her. She was 3 at the time, but I guess we had nap time, so she's like laying on her cot, and one of the teachers said that when she was laying on her cot, she was like going like this to the floor, and the teacher
petting the floor.
Petting the floor. Yeah, sorry, petting the floor if you're not watching. And the teacher said she came over and said, "What are you doing?" And the child,
who was 3 at the time,
says, "He's going to sleep. You have to be very quiet." And no.
Out the window.
And that person should have quit at the time. But to be fair, this child is the type of child where she doesn't smile a lot.
Huh.
And she has long, dark hair. You know, the very typical creepy child.
Samara.
She stares, just blank. Like, you could, like, most children, when you, like, smile at them, or you talk to them, or you joke with them, they, like, mirror you back.
Yes.
Because, it's, like, a thing.
It's a child thing.
And she does not. She just, like, blank stares at you, straight face. So, if any child were to say something creepy, it definitely would be her. But yes, so children, I feel like, can be very creepy. Also, like, I think I watched the One Orphan movie, and that, like, put me off of, like...
The One Orphan movie? The one that we watched together?
I don't know.
Woman in Black?
No. She was an orphan. I think the movie's literally called Orphan. Oh. And she, like, killed her foster parents or something. And that really put me off of, like, having children. Because, like, the thought of waking up to your child staring at you over your bed is one of the scariest things.
But like 2 weeks ago you were saying you want a whole gaggle of children.
I do. But at the time, like when I watched this, I was like, oh my god, I could never foster or have children. That's so scary.
And here you are.
But I definitely want a gaggle. But yeah, no.
I love it.
Children, scary. So, you were saying.
So these quote unquote children are seen like hitchhiking. They can come up to your car. Like, or the most typical encounter is they come to your house, like your front door, or someone's balcony in other cases, like 3rd floor balcony, like we looked out right now and they were just like standing there, like that's what happened.
No, I don't like that. No. I really I feel like balconies are safe.
Yeah.
It's like opening your window and seeing a person there. Like, no, windows are supposed to be, like, relatively safe.
Yeah, especially if you're on the 3rd
Especially if you're on the 3rd floor. So I significantly, like, the door, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Whatever. Mm-hmm. Not whatever. It's scary. But, like, the balcony, no, that's, like, my house. The balcony is, like, part of my house. It's basically, like, you're inside of it at that point. I don't like.
Yes.
How do you get rid of a child who's on your balcony? I don't know. Oh. That's
essentially
reassuring.
So I'm going to show some pictures. I'm going to show you this one first because this one's like, ew. I don't like.
Oh my god. Right? They're all blonde. I don't like.
This one's also creepy.
They're definitely olden days.
This one is the worst one I've ever seen.
See, that's what I'm picturing. Literally just voids. Yeah. Just like sucking you in.
Yeah, that's what I picture too.
I don't like it.
So, here we go to the history. Some tabloids say that you can trace the black-eyed children like story, and there are tales of it since the 1980s. But there is one specific like article thing that most people can trace it back to, and it was in 1996 when a Texan reporter named Brian Bethel made a posting about a ghost-related mailing list, and in there were 2 alleged encounters with the black-eyed children. Also, they're so popular online that there's a acronym for it. It's BEK.
What?
And people just like know what that stands for.
I don't like it.
Black-eyed kids is like, because they're black-eyed kids or black-eyed children. So the BEK is
I don't like that.
Yeah. So,
but I am surprised that it's such like a recent thing. Like I feel like
1996.
1996? That's like...
Kyle was already born.
Literally. I feel like it should be older.
Yeah, I know. So, right, okay. So, Brian Bethel, the reporter. He is known for his stories being very, like, creepypasta-esque.
Okay.
So take from that what you will.
Okay.
But he does say that he like, is very, very firm in his experience that he really did, like, that they really did see him. Or that he saw them, I should say. Well, both. So
Definitely
here is what happened to him. He was in his car and in, like, a parking lot, and two kids came up to his window, and they had hoods covering their faces. And so he opened the window. He rolled the window down.
What's his name?
Brian.
Brian
Bethel.
Mr. Bethel.
Mr. Bethel.
You should know better.
Mr. Bethel. So he rolled the window down, and they asked if he could give them a ride home so they could get money from their mom to go see the new Mortal Kombat movie.
I like that they're, like,
very specific.
Very specific.
And
hey, we want to see the new Avatar movie.
Yeah.
Do you have a couple dollars?
Yeah, no. Not a couple dollars.
Oh,
he
no,
wants
sorry.
to go in
A
the
ride.
car so that you can take yeah, so weird. And he said that when, like, the first kid started talking, asking if they could give a ride, and then the other kid started saying, because we want money from our mom, whatever. But as soon as, like, the second kid started talking, he got this, like, just overwhelming sense of just, like, unease and, like, dread wash over his body. And he said his, like, the second kid's voice sounded almost like mechanic.
I don't like that.
Yeah. And he said that when they started talking, what they were saying sounded very, like, rehearsed.
Yes.
And like, hello, sir.
Hello,
Can
sir.
we get a
would
ride,
like
please?
a ride.
Like, yeah. And so he was like, oh, the movie already started. You wouldn't get back in time, so sorry. You know, like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started getting really persistent and getting really creepy.
No, sir.
And
you don't understand.
Yeah. No, we're just kids. We don't have a gun or anything. Let us in.
I'm sorry. Children don't need to clarify that they're children.
Yep.
We're just children. Don't you see how young we look?
Yeah, and then they looked up and he saw their eyes, like, finally saw that they were all black, and then he rolled up his window and started to go away, and the kid, like, pounded on the car as he's driving away, saying, just say it's okay. We can't come in unless you say it's okay.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I really don't like
so
that.
Then
See,
he zoomed away, and when he looked in the rearview mirror, they were gone.
I don't like that because then it's like, where do they go?
Uh-huh.
So my thing about cars is that I don't like getting into my car at any point.
Yeah.
Day or night.
Especially night.
Alone or with somebody else. I don't like it. I check the back of my car
I'm checking
every
the back.
time.
I'm checking underneath
checking
as I'm walking
around.
up.
Nobody could fit underneath my car, so I don't worry about that. It's like,
no one could fit under mine, but I still get scared.
oh, like literally nobody could fit under my car. Not even a child, I don't think. They would die. But even though I check and there's no one there, I'm still like, don't like it. Like, it's like an open space where there shouldn't be open space. Do you know what I mean?
When I want to say it was like, I was 16 or 17. It was when I could drive. I was, like, driving.
Mm-hmm.
It was after, like, a softball game, and then a couple of us had decided that we were gonna stay the night at one of the girls' houses, but none of us had our stuff. So I drove home to get my stuff, and then was driving back. And as I was driving back, there was, like, a car behind me that I thought was, like, flashing their lights at me. Their brights, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And I had remembered reading something very, very recent to that, where someone was, like, in their car and there was someone in their back seat and the person behind them was flashing their lights, and she was like, what the hell's going on? She pulled in to, like, get gas, and then when she went to go pay for gas, the guy, like, stopped her and was like, hey, there's someone in your back seat, and, like, it was the guy who was gonna, like, kill her. So I thought this person was flashing their brights at me, and my blood ran cold. I was like, oh my god, there's someone behind. I'm about to die.
Yeah,
I'm about to die. And I, like, whipped around really fast, and there was no one there, and I was fine. But I'm very conscious. You know what it was? I don't even think they were flashing their brights at me. I think it was just like they hit like a bump and it just like. No. But I'm so on edge that anytime someone hits a bump, I think that they're flashing their brights and that someone's about to kill me.
Yep.
And that's called anxiety, friends.
Yeah. It took me so long to realize that like people's lights will do that because like the road's bumpy.
Yeah.
I like think I've talked to my mom, but I was like, I feel like everybody's flashing their brights at me. I don't understand. Like, what am I doing? Or like, my original thought isn't necessarily that, because I really checked the back of my car like multiple times as I drive, so I know there's nobody back there. But I'm like, is there something wrong with my car? Or I think they're after me. Like, they're flashing their lights at me because of something I'm doing or something on my car. They want me to pull over so that they can pull over and, like, kidnap me or something. Like, that's where my thoughts go. So it's still bad.
Yeah.
But it's not like somebody's in my car. It's like, they're after me.
Yeah.
They're after me. I need to get home.
Yeah.
My mom said,
but
no,
also don't
it
go
does
home.
that in the bumps. Yeah, I go home, though.
Oh, yeah, you shouldn't do that.
No. But, I mean, they're not following me.
Oh, well, yeah.
So.
But if someone is, don't go home. Go to the nearest police station. Also, just if you're ever scared of someone pulling you over and you, for some reason, don't think it's a cop or it's like really late at night and you're all alone, you can call and ask them to verify their badge number and that someone is actually out where you are right at that very moment. Yeah. And just roll the window down a crack and be like, hi, sir, I'm sorry, I'm paranoid. I would just like to make sure that you're a cop. Can I have your badge number so I can call and make sure that you're actually here? Yeah. And if they get pissed, whatever, like literally whatever, you're looking after your own safety. Who cares? But you can do that. I did learn that. So. Yeah.
My cousin was coming home after school one day to a black truck, like parked, like almost like behind their trees. And he pulled into the driveway and called his mom and was like, who is this person? And then they called the police and asked if like there was anybody like around, like in that area.
Yeah.
And yeah, they have a police officer like undercover like in their driveway because they're like there's an investigation on their neighbors. And so they just didn't tell you though. Like, if I came home and found a stranger's car parked and somebody in the car, too.
Dude,
like,
I would be shitting myself.
You have to be telling these people. You can't, it's not like they were, like, just, like, in the yard or, like, at the end of the, like, their driveway is very long. And so there's a tree here. So they, like, were in the driveway, past the tree, and parked hiding behind, like, partially behind the tree. Like, you just think that people aren't going to ask, hey, what the hell are you doing
what
here?
Is
like,
this? Yeah.
They're just going to keep going on. Oh, there's a car there. Huh.
Let me go inside my house.
Yeah, no. Let me get out of my car.
Sorry, absolutely not.
Yeah. So, I found that astounding. I'm like, you're not going to tell me that you're doing an investigation on my neighbors? Hey, can I use your property?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just there.
Hey, can you not scare my high school son, please?
Yeah, can you make sure that you don't actually terrify him and think you're there to kidnap him? Thanks.
So anyways, yes. I'm afraid of people pulling me over and kidnapping me.
Yes. Me too.
I'm afraid of being kidnapped by any means. At the mall, I'm afraid of being kidnapped.
Yeah, I'm just afraid of being kidnapped.
Anywhere. Sex trafficking.
Very, very paranoid about that stuff. Extremely.
Paranoid about a lot of things. But let's not talk about that.
Yeah, that will be just too long of an episode. So, anyway, there was a movie that was titled Black-Eyed Children that came out about the urban legend in 2012. That combined with some like online article that talked about Black-Eyed Children, they think is what like really got the ball rolling with it being so popular on social media and like how it's still spiraling like that. And it's not just in America. It's also reported in England, and it's actually on a lot of newspapers where there's like reports. Yeah.
So it's like bigger in England.
Yeah, than it is here. At least in like one specific area. I don't remember.
It's weird that you talk about England.
You talking about England?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's weird.
Anyways.
And then apparently ghost hunters take these sightings like very, very seriously. And there's a lot of, I'm going to get into like the conspiracies of what people think that they actually are. But like some ghost hunters think that Black-Eyed Children are extraterrestrials, vampires, or just ghosts.
Well, we did an episode about vampires, and I can assure you
They're not.
They're not.
They are not vampires.
Anyways.
Okay. So here are different places that you may encounter the black-eyed children. At your doorstep, approaching your car while you're waiting for the light to turn green, or while you're getting your gas.
No. I'm afraid enough to get my gas. I don't need a dirty
child. Some may ask for help and look really sad and upset. Others will just stand still and stare at you for like just dead-eyed staring.
Like the kid at my daycare.
Yep. They are going to be extremely persistent in getting into your house, and you're going to feel this draw for some reason to help them at the same, like simultaneously as you feel this dread. Don't let them in. Don't do it.
Don't do it. I can see where it's like vampires, because isn't it like vampires can't enter your home unless you invite them in? So it's like that.
Yep.
But worse. Definitely worse.
Like I said before, they will look fully like a normal human child, aside obviously from their black eyes. But everything else about them, if you don't see them, you're gonna think they're just normal. Except for you probably will get a really uneasy feeling just from like coming in contact with them. Yeah. They're gonna ask if they can come inside because they need to call their parents or something like that. And then in some wild ass cases, they reported that they looked down and that they had talon-like feet. But like that's like 3 maybe.
I kind of like that more than just a child.
Yeah, me too.
Like I don't want them
more
to wear
creature.
Yeah, less humanoid.
Yeah,
because humanoid creatures, that's where you really get me.
Yeah. So, when you first come in contact with them, so when they first knock at the door, it says that you probably will get a feeling of unease, but it isn't until if you actually like talk to them or look at them that when you see their eyes, you'll get this just like overwhelming sense of like doom. Like you think everything, like nothing good is in like think of a Dementor.
Okay.
That's essentially what they are.
Okay. It like sucks all the happiness from you.
Exactly. Yes. So, some people say that after they've been in contact. So, okay. But hang on. Before I go further, there are supposedly like no first-hand accounts of someone who has invited them in.
Great.
There's only first-hand accounts of people who have like been in contact with them but like turned them away.
So we don't know exactly what they do.
Right. Except for this one that I saw. This one that I have, like, they did invite them in, but then they both end up dying. But we still have the story. Oh, it's not firsthand. So I guess that accounts for that. Because someone else is telling their story. Then how did they know? Well, they might have.
Anyways.
So, here's some conspiracies about what people think they are. Some people think that they're like other, like I said, extraterrestrials trying to like reach out to us. Some people think that they're alien human hybrids that are coming to Earth trying to like get to know their human side, I guess.
Okay.
But that because they're like aliens, they don't really know how to act, so they're doing their best to try and act like a normal child would, but they like can't, and that they really, so some people think that they're not malicious, that they they're just curious, but they have some sort of like uranium type of element in them that like is radiating bad stuff to other people, and that's what's affecting them. So it's not on purpose. They just are like emitting a radiation.
Okay.
That, like, whatever. So that's what some people think. Other people think, like demonologists specifically, think that they are children of the devil, and that if you invite them in, you are inviting the devil into your life. So really not good. And then someone wrote like some lore kind of graphic novel about the black-eyed children. Okay. And in this, they said that black-eyed children were normal children who ended up murdering their families. And then they turned into black-eyed children.
I don't like that.
I know.
I like the idea of
the alien thing.
The alien thing.
Me too, because it makes them not as scary.
Yes.
Yes.
That, and also I, like, as you were talking, I was picturing, like, so they can't come in unless you invite them in.
Right.
Most people are like, no, go away. But what if you just, like, like, they're just at your doorstep and you're like, but why do you want to come in? Like, just have a conversation with them.
Yeah,
you know? Like, will they leave?
they are gonna keep insisting to come in, and they're gonna say, we just want to call our mom, we're tired and we want to go home.
But like if you like say like a demonologist or whatever, like somebody who's like researching this, wouldn't it be beneficial to like have them come to you so that you can like talk to them, like get more face to face with them, and then like at the end say no, like they can't do anything, right?
True.
So like you can just like sit there for an hour just talking to them.
But people have said that they experience nightmares and they've like gotten agoraphobia and like really bad headaches and stuff after just like talking to them.
And I also, like you said, they get like the part of you wants to let them in. So I feel like the longer you are talking to them, the more easier they can like compel you, basically.
Probably. That's a good point. Yeah. Okay, so that was that. Now I'm gonna get into the encounter. So here's where it's gonna be. There's a lot. Here's where it's gonna be. I'm just gonna be reading, because I would not have been able to do it justice if I didn't read directly.
Okay.
So this first one, comes from one of the articles that Brian Bethel had read.
Okay.
So this is like the other place where it had happened or whatever. So, in a snowy town within the middle of nowhere in Vermont, an elderly couple heard the sound of 3 loud knocks on the door. They opened the door and saw 2 children. Yeah, a boy and a girl. Parents will be here soon. May we come in? The children.
That's how they opened it.
Yeah. The children did not make eye contact and just stood there in the doorway. The elderly couple were hesitant, but after a while, they let them inside. The kids settled on the couch while the wife made some hot cocoa and the husband asked them questions that went unanswered. There's your... the wife returned and noticed that her cat was scared and angry with the children, like hiding, but also like hissing. May we please use the restroom? Ew. The wife looked at the kids and then she finally saw them. The children's eyes were as black as a starless universe. That's a good way of explaining. She directed them to the bathroom and returned to her husband, who was covering his face with his hand. Did you see their eyes? The husband then showed her his hand full of blood from a nosebleed. The power suddenly went out, and the house turned as dark as the kids' eyes. The wife headed to the restroom and was confronted by the voice of the kids at the end of the hall uttering, "Our parents are here." The kids then exited the house, leaving the door wide open. The wife then noticed that there were 2 men at the end of the driveway. The men were very tall and slender. The wife waved, but did not receive the same friendly gesture. The 2 men and children drove away together in one car. The power then came back on a little later after the kids left. Throughout the next week, weird things started happening in the house. 3 out of the 4 cats went missing, and the 4th had been found dead in the pool of its own blood. The husband continued to have nosebleeds and finally went to the doctor, where he was diagnosed with a very aggressive skin cancer. And that's all we know for that one.
I don't like that.
No.
Our parents are here. And then there's just Slenderman and his husband
and his
out front.
friend. Yeah. So.
May we use the bathroom?
I know.
The royal we.
Yeah. Okay, so I have 3 more. Okay. All of these come...
Well, I don't like that one. So
yeah, all of these come from a blog site called Thought Catalog, where it was like 20 different... Some were really long, though, so I just chose like the creepiest and shortest.
Okay.
So, this incident took place about 13 years ago. I had just moved to a new city with my wife. We were small-town newlyweds from the Midwest. We moved across country to one of the biggest cities in the Southwest so I could attend graduate school. Being naive and new to city living, I habitually answered the door without a second thought. Never again after this. The first thing that should have tipped me off to the peculiarity of the situation was the fact that someone was knocking at 6 in the morning. The second thing that should have dawned on me is the kid had to reach over the rather tall patio gate to unlatch and open it. The knock at the door was startling. My wife and I were getting ready for work, a pretty normal routine. The moment I opened the door, I was overtaken with an inexplicable sense of fear. To this day, I can picture him. Teenager, average height, average build, knee-length black leather coat, short black hair and sunglasses. The sunglasses at 6 a.m. struck me as odd, and even more odd, he was eating an apple. He was very polite and asked if he could come in and warm up. I said no, closed the door, and slid the security chain into place. A moment later, another knock. I opened the now chained door. Why? And before I could speak, he asked again if he could come in and warm up. No, I reply, and attempted to close the door. Before the door could shut, he put his hand out, stopping the door on its hinges. He looked directly into my eyes, still wearing his sunglasses, and said, "Can I at least get some ketchup for my apple?" "Fuck that," I reply, albeit a little confused. "Get the hell out of here. My wife is calling the police." He takes a moment to let this information sink in, lowers his glasses, revealing eyes as black as obsidian, and says, "No, you won't be calling anybody." At that moment, I force the door closed, lock it, and call out to my wife. She is scared shitless, hiding in the bedroom. All jacked up on adrenaline, I rip the curtains back to look out the window next to the door. He's gone. Absolutely no trace of him. I go out to the patio. Why would you go out? I go out to the patio and check the gate. It's still latched from the inside. That was fucked up, I think to myself. But then he turned to enter the house and noticed a half-eaten apple laying on the ground.
Ooh. See, I like this story simply because I'm picturing this teenager having so much swagger. He's like mid-chew. He's like, "Can I come in and warm up?
Yeah, exactly.
Will you at least let me have some ketchup for my apple?"
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm picturing.
And he's like, has the apple in one hand. He just rolls his glasses. "You won't be calling me." Like, I'm literally picturing, like, the most snotty, like,
yes.
swagger teenager.
That's exactly it. Yes.
I still don't like it, but, like, I
no,
do.
But it's kind of funny. That one's kind of funny.
I like the apple.
Yeah.
Like, it adds something, you know.
The apple's kind of funny.
Also, he didn't finish it, which just shows that he doesn't give a fuck, which I like, too.
Yes.
So.
Okay, this next one I think is one of the first ones I ever heard, and so it's a bit longer, but it's, like, iconic. Okay. And so when I was reading it, I was like, oh my god, I've, like, actually heard this exact story before. Okay. So, here we go. It almost felt like a dream. I woke up to my dog, Lucy, barking. She was upright on the bed where my husband and I were sleeping with our, this part made me laugh, with our 22-month-old daughter. She's almost 2.
Just say
she's 2. Blah, blah, blah. The dog was staring at our door like an unknown stranger was out there rummaging around. I thought she was just freaking out over a house noise. We'd only had her for 3 months, and she was still a puppy. It could have been anything. Our roommate, a creak from the house settling, the awnings moving outside in the breeze. I wasn't too concerned, initially. I decided the best bet would be to open the door and show her that nothing was there. It sounds a bit silly, but it's what we do with our daughter when she gets scared, and I figured it would work with a puppy too. I opened the door. That's what I do with the cats, actually. If they get freaked out about something. Like, okay. Something falling over and it like scares them. I like show it to them to show them that like it's nothing to be scared of. Or like when we go to make a shake or something with our blender, I like tap it a couple of times so they know that I'm about to turn it on so it doesn't like immediately startle them. So anyway, okay. I opened the door and she raced to the front door. She stood there, snarling at the door. It was an angry, violent growl, one I'd never heard her make before. I looked groggily at her and opened the baby gate blocking the doorway, planning to open the door and show her that everything was okay. But the second my hand reached for the deadbolt, Lucy went wild. She started barking and jumped towards me, and when I touched the metal, she suddenly changed her temper. She whimpered, almost like she was afraid and backing down. As her mannerism changed, so did mine. I wasn't calm anymore. My heart was racing and sinking at the same time. I had been flooded with a mixture of fear and dread. I looked out the peephole. I can't explain why I looked, but I did. Outside, there were 2 kids. One was just a smidgen shorter than me and didn't look much younger. I'm 21, and she looked to be 16 or 17. She was slender and pale. Her hair was a light shade of honey blonde, and she wore it long, about mid-back, with long, thin, blunt bangs in the front that covered most of her eyes. She wore jeans, a light wash that's popular right now, and a thin-looking olive-colored pullover-style hoodie. She held the hand of a small girl who looked to be around 3 or 4, in the same style jeans and a button-down ivory cardigan. The smaller one looked at the floor shyly, but had the same shade of hair tied back in a ponytail. She held a stuffed toy under her free arm, and it was identical to the one my daughter has, as was the style of the dress. I don't like that. Had it not been for the feeling of overwhelming dread and fear, I probably would have asked these children in and given them some tea or hot chocolate to get them out of the bitter cold. Something about them seemed off. At this point, I hadn't made any noise. I hadn't shushed the dog or grumbled. Nothing. I hadn't turned on any lights, so these kids had no indicators I was at the door. But then the older one spoke. She had a voice that was mature, confident, strong, and accentless, which... Huh? Doesn't make...
Accentless? So she doesn't talk. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get that. She held her head tilted downwards, and I still couldn't see her eyes. She said, "We have to use your phone." I stood frozen in fear. How did she know I was there? Fuck that. She raised her head to face me directly, and that's when I saw... Oh, and that was when I saw her eyes. So, like, through the peephole. She knew she was looking at it through the peephole. There was a reason I couldn't see them through her bangs before. They were black, or midnight blue, or a dark, dark purple. They were otherworldly. She said, "Our mother is worried." As someone who has always been interested in creepy stories, I knew what she was the second she looked at me through the door. I've never been one to believe in these things, as a staunch atheist and skeptic when it comes to the paranormal. I had written off many a ghost stories from friends and family members eager to tell their tale. I didn't believe it. Still, I couldn't rationalize my way out of this. I was standing with nothing but a thin wooden door between me and a black-eyed kid. There was no questioning what was right in front of me. I did not answer her. Slowly and silently, I backed away from the door, Lucy still cowering at my ankles. She kept talking. "Just let us use your phone." I took another step back, and with that step, the tone changed. At first, she seemed polite. When I took that second step back, she became commanding, almost hostile. "We're not going to hurt you. If you wanted to do that, we would have broken in. I'll ask again. Maybe come in and use your phone." Lucy snarled at the door, and I inched...
hate that.
And I inched backwards, though something inside me seemed to be slowly pulling me back toward the door. It wasn't a physical pulling so much as a subconscious need to go back and let them in. I got to my room, covered up the window, locked the door, and sat there in the dim light of the nightlight. I heard her call me back to the door once more, and then quiet. I didn't go back to sleep that night, and I haven't slept right since. I know from reading them that BEKs can't just come in without permission. I know that they haven't hurt anyone, but I still fear that I'll be the exception. When I told my husband, he said it was just a dream. He keeps telling me to forget it, this lingering feeling of sadness, this dread when the house is silent at night, this fear of a knock at the door. This tells me otherwise.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
Yeah. And then this last one is like super, super short, but it was the creepiest.
I like the confidence though. She's like, "Let me ask you again."
Yeah. I'm going to ask you one more time.
We're going to come in. You're going to open the door.
And you're going to let us in. Do you see my sister? She's 3 and it's cold outside.
So, just let's skip
They're all brats
this.
Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Let's skip this and just let me the fuck in.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, it gets aggressive so fast.
That's what I picture.
Yeah.
I also like how she just doesn't talk to them at all.
Yeah.
She's just like...
Just backs away.
I think I'm just going to go lay down.
I'm going to go back to bed, actually. Okay, so this last one. This was the only story of someone who did start to let them in, but then someone intervened so it like didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
So, okay. This is so short, and all of this was in like lowercase text. Like this was creepy as shit, okay? I helped them once. Never, ever, under any circumstance do it. I'm not sure what they do, but it feels as if they're ripping your soul out. They get really close to you, and you get amazingly drowsy. If it weren't for my girlfriend showing up mid, quote, invasion, and kicking them out, I probably would be dead. I didn't even see the black eyes until I had let them in. They're getting smarter.
I was gonna ask if they, like, glamour themselves.
They can't, like, fully hide their eyes, but if they're wearing, like, sunglasses or a hat that's covering their eyes and you just don't see it, like, yeah,
okay.
It's possible. But no, they can't glamour like Percy Jackson,
yes.
where the Cyclops has 2 eyes. Like, yeah, no.
Okay.
And that's what I have.
Well, I like mine a lot more than that.
Okay. Well, and on a good note then, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So I'm talking about the Green Children of Woolpit, which is in England. Okay. So the village of Woolpit is in Suffolk. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Okay.
Suffolk is how it's spelled, but I think it's pronounced Suffolk.
Okay.
And the name Woolpit comes from Wolf Pit, which is like very literal. This town that the story takes place in, around the 12th century, so very
fucking long ago.
Very long time ago, had a bit of a wolf problem. So I guess wolves originally came from like England. Like that's where I don't know if I'd say originally, but they have like a huge wolf population.
Okay.
And wolves were like what towns were like afraid of.
Okay.
Like obviously wolves they're wild. They're not like dogs.
Yeah, they're not domesticated.
And so they're like bears. They would like break into people's houses or like the food storage. They were dangerous, obviously, because they're like bears. So this town, Woolpit, built pits literally around the town, like traps for the wolves to fall into, so that like, you know, to keep the wolves out and keep the town safe. So that's like where Woolpit comes from. The town used to be called Woolpit.
Okay.
Because the pits for wolves.
Which were traps.
Okay. But it's called Woolpit now,
okay.
like wool. And
like wool, like a sheep's wool?
Yes.
Okay.
Like sheep's wool.
Okay.
So this story took place during King Stephen's reign. So a little bit of history. I guess there was a civil war. I feel like I said civil war that was like 20 years long, from 1135 to 1153.
Jeez.
After the death of King Henry I's heir in 1120, Stephen and Matilda, two people who were like next up for the crown, fought for the crown with no care about like the people at all, and so people were like starving and just in a war-torn country, basically.
Love that.
So this town, Woolpit, was focused on surviving the winter, as one does in England in the 12th century.
Yes.
So crops were the priority, like they were priority number one, and so they had built all these wolf pits to keep them out for the crops because they're all starving and dying.
Yes.
And someone heard like cries of children, which like isn't, you know, there's children in the town. It's not like that strange. But the children were speaking in not native tongue and nobody knew what they were saying. And
where were they?
They were found in a wolf pit. They were like, which it's very shocking.
I don't like that.
No, look at this picture of them. They're green.
Oh, they're green.
Yeah, when I say like the green children of Woolpit, they're literally green. So they were found. These children were found in the wolf pits, unharmed. Well, that too. But they were just unharmed. How are you unharmed? These wolf pits were like 15 feet deep, so that wolves couldn't jump out, and they dug the wolf pits and they put like bricks up all around it so that the wolves couldn't like, you know, use the dirt and stuff to climb out. Whereas if you have bricks, their claws like, you know, they can't leave. They just died in there.
That's really sad.
It is really sad, but also those were the times.
Yeah.
The wolves were breaking in and eating food.
Yeah,
and eating people probably. So somebody found these children speaking in a language that nobody knows. They're green. Their skin is literally green.
Cool.
Guys, like literally green skin, and
like the Hulk green.
And somehow they were alive after falling 15 feet. Children falling 15 feet into a pit.
How old do they look to be? Do you know?
I would say they weren't teenagers.
Okay.
But they weren't like toddlers either. So I would say like
5 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe like 7 to 8.
Okay.
7 to 10. 7 to 8. So 7 or 8.
So 7 and 8.
These children was we think sister and brother.
Okay.
But it was a young girl and then like a younger boy. We don't know if they're related or not.
Okay.
But we just people of the town assumed that they were related.
Okay.
So somebody in the town took them in, but everybody was very confused because they're literally green children who don't speak their language. They speak something that they've never heard before. And so the children were like offered food, but they literally refused to eat anything until they were shown like beans. So I'm picturing more like green bean where it's like comes in like a stalk or whatever, and you like pry open and like eat out of it.
Yeah.
But so the children didn't know that you had to like open it. They literally refused anything. Potatoes, bread. I think that's all peasants ate back in the day. They refused to eat anything until they found like this beanstalk, and they were like trying to eat it, I guess. But I guess like the stalk part is like gross, and so somebody like showed them how to open it, and they like just ate beans.
Like green beans.
They like green beans. I don't think they're green beans, but there's some sort of like bean that's green in a little like pea pit.
Interesting.
Yeah. They refused to eat anything other than that, and even that they didn't know how to open it and eat it. So why did they only eat that?
Go for that. Yeah, so then, that's weird.
Slowly,
well, because they're children. I'm sure a normal child wouldn't know that you have to open up a bean.
I know, but like, why would they eat that and not anything else?
Maybe it's all they've ever seen before.
But if they've seen it, then how do they not know to open it up?
Because their parents did it for them, and they've only ever seen it already open.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
so then they were like living in this town. They didn't have any parents, so it was like some people like took them in, and they over time slowly started to eat like different foods.
Okay.
Well, the girl did. The girl slowly started eating different foods. But the young boy like still refused to eat anything other than the beans. So he like got like sick and died basically. He like got sick, like sicker and sicker and sicker and died, while the girl got stronger and healthier and like eating other foods. And as time went on, her skin got less and less green like over the years.
What the heck?
Yeah. And she like got old enough and she like married somebody and she had kids. Like she just lived a normal life where her other younger boy like died with his green skin and refused to eat anything but beans.
The heck?
And slowly, obviously, she was like lived there for a very long time. She was like taught that black-eyed children, not just black children. Slowly, she was taught like the native tongue, and she was like able to tell her story because before they weren't able to understand her. So she told her story to people. And so I have, like, what she said.
Ooh,
but
tell me.
But we have to keep in mind that this is translated from Latin. So
okay.
So I have a story from her, what she says.
Okay.
But then I also have like somebody in the town. I don't know if he's the guy who took them in or if it's just somebody else from the town. Mm-hmm. But he like has his version of like what she said too.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, his name is Thomas I want to say Knightley. It's not. Thomas Cately.
Okay.
In 1850. This is what he said in 1850. So, he said... So, I want to clarify that he didn't say this in 1850 because this took place in a very long time ago before that. But this is like... This was translated in 1850.
In 1850? Yes. From him.
From him.
Okay.
So, it says... Being frequently asked about the people of her country, she, being the young girl, mm-hmm. asserted that the inhabitants and all they had in that country were of a green color, and that they saw no sun, but enjoyed a degree of light like what is after sunset. So, like, the moon?
Or just, like, when it's still light outside, but you can't see the sun anymore.
Yeah, I guess. That too. Being asked how she came into this country with the aforesaid boy, she replied that as they were following their flocks, they came to a certain cavern, on entering which they heard a delightful sound of bells. Ravaged by whose sweetness, they went for a long time wandering on through the cavern until they came to its mouth. When they came out of it, they were struck senseless by the excessive light of the sun and the unusual temperature of the air. And they thus lay for a long time. Being terrified by the noise of those who came on them, they wished to fly, but they could not find the entrance of the cavern before they were caught. So that's what he said.
Okay.
Cavern. So
they live in the caves.
I guess, but how do they have light in the caves? I mean, they only have... Right. They saw no sun, but enjoyed a degree of light, like what is after sunset. And she also said that everybody in her country was green. What? What's a country where everyone's skin color is green?
Well, not on Earth, that's for sure.
Literally not on Earth. So she said, these are her words.
Okay.
We are inhabitants of the land of Saint Martin, which is regarded with peculiar veneration in the country which gave us birth. We are ignorant of how we arrived here. We only remember this, that on a certain day, when we were feeding our father's flocks in the fields, we heard a great sound, such as we are now accustomed to hear at St. Edmund's, when the bells are chiming, and whilst listening to the sound and admiration, we became on a sudden, as it were, entranced, and found ourselves among you in the fields where you were weeping. The sun does not rise upon our countrymen. Our land is little cheered by its beams. We are contented with that twilight, which, among you, precedes the sunrise, or follows the sunset. Moreover, a certain luminous country is seen, not far distant from ours, and divided from it by a very considerable river. I'm sorry.
Huh? I'm sorry. Wait, no. Sorry.
So
I'm lost.
There's a river.
There's a river. A considerable river.
A considerable river that divides their country from something else. Their country does not have the sun. They only have darkness.
They're all green.
They are all green. They only have darkness, and the only light they have is like what light follows the sunset, whatever that means. And that they heard a great sound,
which was the bells.
which are bells chiming. Mm-hmm. And while they were listening, they found an entrance, and then suddenly found themselves in the fields of, I'm assuming, Woolpit, until they fell into one of the wolf pits. And that's
and here we are.
And here we are.
Huh.
So, a couple theories.
Okay, please tell me.
So the one theory is that the children were suffering from hypochromatic anemia, known as chlorosis.
Okay.
Which is a condition caused by a poor diet, which turns a person's skin slightly green. However, after eating a normal amount of food, the skin turns back to normal.
Okay.
So it could be that.
Okay, well that checks with her.
A second theory, which is I don't know, is that the children in their original country had some sort of poisoning, and because of this, their caretaker just left them to die near, like, the Suffolk border, and they just, like, wandered themselves in there and, like, got lost.
But they said that everyone in their country
Everyone was
green.
The third theory is that, they were Flemish immigrants, because I guess during the 12th century, many Flemish immigrants arrived in England, and they were persecuted by King Henry II, so they think that the siblings, they will call them siblings, could have been children of Flemish immigrants, who the immigrants were killed in battle, because it was, like, in the middle of the Civil War.
Yeah, but they're green. But they're green!
So people think that they were orphans, and they entered an underground mine in the area and eventually just arrived in Woolpit, because they said that they were walking in a cavern.
Yeah,
but they're green.
But they're green. Listen, if they weren't green, yeah, sure, whatever.
But they're green.
But they're green, and they say everyone from where they're from is also green.
So then the last theory is that they're extraterrestrials, of course. Mm-hmm. That's it. There's no evidence. That's just, we think they're green.
What if they
tell me.
What if there's an inner Earth?
Oh my God. Were you the one who told me about this?
I may have been.
There's, like, a graph that I saw of, like, Earth, and then there's, like, tunnels running through it, and there's, like, there's a theory of, like, people, like, tunnel people, like, people living in tunnels, like, below us, and that there's a whole, like, system. Like, how we have Earth, and there's people living, like, all around it. Mm-hmm. It's, like, the same, but, like, just, like, levels below ours.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
That so maybe sounds that's, like them.
Maybe that's what they're from, and, like, the light could be, like, lava. You know, like in how in Minecraft, when the lava gives off enough light.
True. Or some other something down there.
Bioluminescent worms.
I was gonna say something.
I don't know.
I mean, it would make sense if it was something like that, because at night I feel like the light looks. I feel like everything looks more like purpley.
Yeah,
like it just looks like that. So then that, dude, I think we solved it. Done.
And then also
people are green down there.
That would kind of.
How are we gonna know?
Well, see, that's where I'm trying to think of what would explain that. Maybe because they are underground, they aren't exposed to the sun. They're not exposed to a whole bunch of other things. Maybe for some reason in that condition, maybe they had similar beings. They're not exactly the same.
Yes.
Maybe they had something similar that was like that, and that's what causes their skin to be green. Yeah. But because for some reason, like, they do live underground, maybe they don't need to get everything else, and that's why they could live in their being like on that diet. But as soon as they came to our world, you had to change, otherwise you died.
I didn't think about that, dude. I think we solved it.
Okay, so
the green children,
they live under
Woolpit, just are from, like, they're tunnel people.
They're tunnel people,
which
that's pretty.
One of us will have to talk about tunnel people.
100%.
And that's it. That's the green children of Woolpit.
Wow.
Yeah, there's only this one instance of like green people.
So weird.
Yeah. See, that's where I'm like, it can't be like an illness because we don't have green people. I literally tried to like Google like conditions that turn your skin green.
Right.
And no.
There's just that one.
Like,
and then it's from having a poor diet.
But even then, it's like not. I picture like if people are saying green, like it has to be like green,
like Hulk green.
Like it has to be green. If it wasn't, then they would say like
greenish,
washed out, or
sickly looking.
Like,
yeah,
they didn't say that they necessarily looked sickly. They just said that they had green skin,
right?
And they were children,
right?
That poor boy died though.
Yeah, that sucks.
I know. I would have liked his account.
Yeah,
he died before he
learned
the native tongue.
Question: Is there like documents of this girl existing?
I like as an adult.
Yeah.
I didn't find anything about that. All I have is that she did eventually get old. I don't even know like when she died, but she like got married and had kids, and she like lived in the town. Yeah, she was like, it was like a big thing because obviously the village is like small enough that these green children, everyone person knew about them.
Yeah,
but I'm just glad that they like, oh, they're children. Like, imagine if they weren't children. Imagine if they were adults, like found in like the wolf pit. Like, I feel like people would have taken like, it would have been like witches or something.
Oh,
but, like,
yeah.
Because they were children, it was like, oh, let's take care of them. Let's feed them. Let's teach them our native tongue and stuff. Like, yeah. The story would have been really different if they were not children.
Oh, for sure.
But, yeah.
But they were children, so
they were children, so they were safe.
Okay.
Cards.
The cards. I'm going to go first just because I have two.
Okay, yes.
So, the first one, if you did not see our TikTok, the first one is A Time for Healing, Balsamic Moon, which we have had before, so I'm just going to go to the teaching of this one.
Okay.
So, actually, no, I'll do additional meanings in the teaching. So, additional meanings are, it's time to let go of the past, you're about to turn the corner, you need more time to heal, or think about how the situation would look if everyone were healed. And the teaching is, patience is required at the time of the balsamic moon. It's a time for self-care as you slowly but surely prepare yourself for the new moon, which is just around the corner. No matter which point in the current moon cycle you have pulled this card, it's a reminder to go a little bit easy on yourself. The time to step into your creatrix power will come soon enough. Give yourself the time you need. And what is the current moon cycle?
Full wolf moon.
Okay,
we were just...
So that's weird.
We talked about wolves last time.
Yeah. Well, and this...
And this time we talked about wolves. Wolves all the way around. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the self-care thing. So we're at a full moon right now. So this is... So we're like halfway... Wow, were we at almost a full moon when we did this before too? Because I think we were.
I think we were.
We pulled this one before.
I think we were. Why?
That's weird. No, that's just
okay.
weird because it says no matter at what point you are in this cycle, it's just a reminder to go easy on yourself. Yeah. And yeah.
That's so. Then do you want me to go?
Yeah.
And then you go do your last one. Okay.
Yes.
So I got Dragon Goddess, which in the tech deck, we talked about how neither of us have ever seen this card. We
Yeah.
didn't even know it existed.
And this was my first Oracle deck that I've ever gotten, so I've had it for like over a year now, and I've never pulled this one, so
That's so strange.
Saying a lot.
So the keywords for Dragon Goddess are prosperity, acclaim, and fortune.
Okay.
It says, the mythic dragon is a symbol of good fortune throughout many cultures. Your generosity and efforts have not gone unnoticed by the universe, and the Dragon Goddess is here to offer you a streak of luck. Although many rewards come to us through our hard work, sometimes wonderful things come to you out of the blue for no apparent reason at all. A period of abundance, success, and prosperity is upon you. Act boldly, have courage to try something you have never dared to try before. You will notice your vitality and levels of joy increasing. Be open to receiving gifts as much as you are thrilled to give. Meditate on your lucky star above and keep it in mind as you move about your day.
That's really cute. That kind of works with mine because this one is going up the day after my birthday.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. So this is going up the day after my birthday.
Yes.
So that kind of goes with, I always do feel really awkward when people get me gifts. I very much am someone that likes to give, so that's where it's like, get gifts
joy from that as well as giving.
Yeah, so that's exciting. Okay, so the next one from the Moonology is Hold Your Vision, and this is a fixed moon. And I don't think we've had this one before, so I'm going to read the whole thing. Okay. There are two main possibilities with this card. The first is that you need to stand firm in whatever situation you're in. The second, very different interpretation, is that something is stuck. That could well be referring to the situation you're asking about, even though we're not asking about a situation. We're just pulling cards. If that's the case, have a think about what you can do to grease the wheels so that the events move forward. Are you being stubborn? If so, that's great, because if you're really wanting things to change, there's a solution. Stop digging your heels in. Be the one to break a deadlock. With two interpretations for this card, it's up to you to decide what's going on and which meaning applies to you. This offers up a chance for some self-reflection. Attuned to the moon. Yes. Just say the word a lot and see how it feels. Additional meanings for this card. Staying power, faith, or patience are needed. Staying power, I don't know what that means. Someone needs to back down, either you or someone else. Avoid stagnation, or a personal or professional relationship will be enduring. Hopefully that's ours. Both, really.
Yes.
And then the teaching for this is, in astrology, there are 3 quadruplicities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. I think I'm a cardinal sign. I think Capricorn's cardinal. And I think yours is...
I think I'm muted.
Muted, yeah. Okay, so the fixed signs can be stubborn. So anything that's just starting as you draw this card may well last longer. Remember, we each have all the star signs in our chart. It's just the way the astrological wheels work. So there's no judgment when we say that while it's admirable how much staying power the fixed signs have, they can also be obstinate. I like that. I like that. Like, it's not just one thing. Just because you're mutable or fixed or cardinal doesn't mean you're stuck with those attributes. You can have all of them because you have all the signs in your chart.
That's true.
I never know your stuff.
I just know that my sun is Sagittarius. I'm pretty sure my other 2 are Aries and Taurus.
Yes, I think you are a Taurus rising because I'm a Taurus moon.
I'm a Taurus rising, Aries moon.
Okay. Interesting. I do not get Aries vibes from you.
What is Aries? I don't know my vibes. All I know is that Sagittarius are things that I don't attribute.
No,
to
I think because when I hear Sagittarius, I think of someone who is like who wants to travel and like experience the world, and that's how I think of you.
Yeah, but I also want to come back. Like, I want to travel, but I want to come back.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the times.
Well, then that could attribute to your Taurus rising.
That's very true. I was going to say, because a lot of the times it talks about how Sagittarius are, like, supposed to live in all these, like, crazy places. And, like, no, I can go, but I always want to come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Aries vibes, if you picture Julian Solomita, Jenna Marbles' husband.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's an Aries.
I don't feel Aries at all.
Yeah, that's why I said
very
I don't think.
not me.
He is very energetic and aggressive, not in like a mean way, but like
that's
loud.
Isn't Moon like your emotional?
Yeah, Moon is like, okay, someone described this to me as like an avocado.
Okay.
Okay, okay. So like the outside, the skin of the avocado is what everyone sees as the avocado when you first see it is your rising sign. So what most people think you would be based on like not really getting to know deep down who you are would be Aries apparently, which I disagree. No, Taurus, which I kind of see actually. Mine's Cancer, which I also see for myself because they're like very emotional and like that's me.
Yes.
And then the meat of the avocado is like the sun part. So that's what makes up most of your personality is like your sun sign. But then at your core, who you really are when you're by yourself or with the people that you like are most open with, that's when your moon sign comes through.
Well, I feel like that works. I feel like he's very crackhead energy, and I feel like
you are definitely crackhead energy,
but
when
only
it's
around very certain people.
Yeah. You know what? That definitely makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. Like, if you're not in my inner group, I am not.
No.
Crackhead.
No, definitely
like,
not.
Like, when we went to the Cherry Festival, like, very much not how I normally act.
Yeah.
Like, more guarded, I would say.
Definitely. Yeah. When I think of this, I think of the one time that you, Kaylee, and I were laying on the couch, I should say.
Okay.
At the old apartment. Okay, the one in Milford.
Okay.
And we were having a sleepover, and we were all laying down on the couch, and my mom, like, I don't even know where she was. She must have been like back in the room, letting us have like the family room or something. And we were listening to music, and like the beat dropped. And we all started dancing disgustingly. Like, I was like laying there and I had my foot up and I was like going up and down.
Of course.
Kaylee is like shimmying back and forth, and I don't even remember what you were, but we were all doing something disgusting, and I looked over and saw that we were all doing it at the same time, and I was like, these are my people.
Yes, literally.
This crackhead energy right here.
It is the crackhead energy.
Yeah.
So it actually makes sense.
Good time. It does actually make a lot of sense. Yeah. My moon is Taurus, which is like very stubborn.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
And very like loyal to a fault.
Yes.
And yeah. So I think that at my core is very, very, very accurate. And I definitely think the whole Capricorn, like, workaholic type, people would definitely see that from the outside. And definitely people would think that I, like, give everything my all the time and I, like, really, really work. No. I really don't.
It depends what it is.
Well, yes. But I really don't.
Because you're, like, you have a lot more of that than I ever will.
It's dwindled.
Yes,
it's
but
very much dwindled.
I think it's still there. Like, when I hear you talk about things, like, it's different than how I think about things.
What,
I feel like.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Just like, it's just different.
Interesting.
It's Capricorn. I don't know what to tell you.
Huh.
I don't have that.
Interesting.
I don't have that.
And then meanwhile, Kyle is an Aquarius sun. He's also a Taurus moon, so that fits well. And then he's a Scorpio rising.
What does a Scorpio rising look like?
I don't really know much about Scorpio, to be honest.
I don't know anything about Scorpio at all.
Yeah.
Just that nobody likes him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but nobody likes Capricorns either.
Here I am.
And
here you are. Yeah. I was talking to my friend Erin. Her birthday is the day before mine.
Oh, yes.
But like a year after.
Yes.
And so we're both Capricorn. And I was telling her, I was like, I just don't see myself as a Capricorn, like, at all. And she was like, no. She's like, I see you as a Capricorn. And she was like, but I see you as all of the positive attributes of a Capricorn. And she was like, I see myself as all of the negative ones. She was like, no. I see no positive Capricorn attributes in myself. And I was like, well, that's incorrect. But
that's funny.
Yeah. So we also like astrology, if you didn't know this.
Yeah. Yes. If you had no clues. I know we like really like to keep that secret, so no one would ever know. Definitely
not. Well, thank you for listening to this one. Was definitely much longer in the sense of we rambled a lot more. Yes. So thank you for bearing with us for that. It's fun when we do that.
Yes, it is. It's fun to us at least. And that's really all that matters. No offense, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
But
but we have to deal with ourselves in the current time, so we're gonna make it how we want it to be.
Yes. We hope that you enjoyed the creepy stories that Jade brought and the strange and confusing story that I brought.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I know. When I heard about it, I was like, I've never heard of this because I don't really know anything about England, like, folklore in terms of,
Yeah.
like, that stuff. And because it's such a small town, like, it's not, you know, as big news, and it happened so
Right.
long ago. So I figured, you know, I had this in my, like, thing I wanted to cover at some point, because I heard about
Yeah.
this so long ago, like, way before we started a podcast.
Oh, I love that.
And so then I, like, kept it in my notes, and I'm
Yeah.
like, things I want to cover, and that's the only thing in there. And and so I was like, maybe we should do children, because that works so perfect
that's
with
perfect.
black-eyed children.
That's perfect.
So,
And it helped ease my fear a little bit.
which I'm very happy about, because I didn't know that, like, you wouldn't want to cover it. You should have told me.
Listen, I didn't know. I was fine. It was just when I told Kyle about it, he
Oh,
was like,
he
are
was
you
like,
sure?
"Are you
And I
sure?"
was like, yeah,
You're like,
fine.
well, I'm glad that it did ease some fears, and
Yes.
it made mine more intense with the car thing. So that's good.
So sorry.
So sorry. So I hope it doesn't freak anybody else out from
And if it
getting
did,
their car.
I'm very sorry. But just, you should always look in your car anyway. So.
And if it does, then just remember that they can't come in unless you
Unless
invite
you
them.
invite
That's,
them in.
You know, just
Remember that.
No. Deny.
Deny. So where that one card says, say yes for a little bit. Don't do it with black-eyed children.
Do it with black-eyed children,
Don't
you
do it
guys.
with that.
No.
Don't let them in.
Never let them in. Green children, though, very different. You can definitely let those guys in.
Yep,
You don't understand what they're saying. You have to have some sort of bean with you.
Yeah,
or
you
else they'll die.
You do need the beans.
But
well,
you
they'll
know.
die with the beans too, apparently.
Yeah, the boy.
So anyway,
we hope you guys like this episode. You can find us on
Instagram. Oh, I'm doing all of them.
doing all of them.
Instagram, Tumblr, Reddit, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. Find us there. Where mostly it's like @ohmy_podcast or something along those lines. You'll find us, Hunter and Jade. We'll be there.
We'll be there. We'll be there, or we'll be square.
And we're not square.
We're never square.
So we'll be there.
We'll be there. Don't you worry.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.